Welcome to the video version of the Pirls Stock Market Commentary for November 8th, 2015. Market breadth. With this past week's market advance, our bull-bear point and figure ratio at 0.88 rose from 0.85 last week, remaining in bearish territory. The total count of securities in bullish or bearish patterns rose 3% to 2,934. The count of bearish stocks increased 2%, while the count of stocks in bullish patterns increased 5%. The Pirls PNF Market Breadth Summary Chart shows us a market now 23 consecutive weeks in bearish territory. Paid subscribers have access to the Open Office Calc data from which the chart is generated. You may become a paid subscriber by visiting s2pmarketsignal.com, clicking on Membership, clicking Register, and following the prompts. To subscribe free of charge to the email version of the Stock Market Commentary, simply insert your email address in the appropriate space. The well-known market breadth indicator, the Nasdaq McClellan Summation Index, rose 132 points for the 8th advance in 10 weeks. At a positive 2.65 points, it continues below all 7 tops above plus 100 and continues above all 5 bottoms below minus 100 in the last 3 years. Volume analysis. In this week's volume analysis, the Nasdaq Composite Index ended in accumulation mode with average daily volume higher than the prior week. In the last 2 weeks, the Nasdaq had 3 accumulation days and 3 distribution days. Accumulation days are counted when the index closes up on higher volume than the prior market day, while distribution days occur when the index closes down on volume higher than the prior market day. Last week, the Nasdaq ended in distribution mode on higher average daily volume. Momentum. At 86.34, the CCI 20 daily has decreased from last week and continues outside the plus or minus 50 range, prohibiting another valid zero-line reject long entry signal at this time. In Woody's CCI trading system, 6 consecutive bars above or below zero are required for a change of trend. The weekly CCI 20 of the Nasdaq Composite Index began a Woody's downtrend 7 weeks ago, while the daily CCI 20 began a Woody's uptrend 3 weeks ago. The CCI 20 weekly, now with 2 weeks above zero, has risen to plus 86.34 from plus 56.18 last week and continues outside the plus or minus 50 range required for a valid zero-line reject short entry signal. Industry rotation the last 2 weeks. All of the top industries are positive, and all of the bottom are negative. Bullish, computer hardware has entered and leads the top 5. Brokers and KBW Bank have entered the top 5. Gold and silver continues in the bottom 5. Bearish, REITs continues in the bottom 5. Oil and oil services have entered the top 5. CompTech and networkers have left the top 5. Focus this week from www.wolfstreet.com. First, they came for the pennies in the war on cash by Don Quijones, November 7, 2015. Some key points are the following. Sweden became the first country to enlist its own citizens as largely willing guinea pigs in a dystopian economic experiment negative interest rates in a cashless society. Whether it's for mulled wine at the Christmas market, a beer at the bar, even the smallest charge is settled digitally. Even the homeless vendors of the street newspapers, Factum and Situation, Stockholm, carry mobile card readers. A similar situation is unfolding in Denmark. While Sweden and Denmark may be the two nations that are closest to banning cash outright, the most important testing ground for cashless economics is half a world away, in sub-Saharan Africa. In many African countries, going cashless is not merely a matter of basic convenience as it is in Scandinavia. It is a matter of basic survival. Less than 30% of the population have bank accounts, and even fewer have credit cards. But almost everyone has a mobile phone. Now, thanks to the massive surge in uptake of mobile communications, as well as the huge numbers of unbanked citizens, Africa has become the perfect place for the world's biggest social experiment with cashless living. In India, an even more ambitious project is underway. The Unique Identification Authority of India, which aims to create a centralized voter enrollment system for 1.2 billion people. It will be the largest identity platform and biometric database in the world. There's only one snag. According to its creators, the only way to make the system work effectively will be through the widespread adoption of electronic payment systems side by side, as always, with biometric recognition systems. But currently less than 5% of all payments in India are done electronically. With this comes the specter of bank surveillance, where every transaction you ever partake in is authorized and recorded by a privately run commercial bank, giving it a transaction-by-transaction history of your entire commercial life. If such a bank does not like an enterprise, such as WikiLeaks, it can just freeze it out. An oft overlooked benefit of cash transactions is that there is no intermediary. One party pays the other party in mutually accepted currency, and not a single middleman gets to wet his beak. In a cashless society, there will be nothing stopping banks or other financial mediators from taking a small piece of every single transaction. The only way that central banks can maintain negative interest rates ad infinitum is by abolishing cash altogether, as the Bank of England chief economist Andrew Hadlane all but admitted. The biggest tragedy of all is that the government's and banks' strongest ally in their war on cash is the general public itself. As long as people continue to abandon the use of cash for the sake of a few minor gains and convenience, the war on cash is already won. Thank you for tuning in for the Pirls Stock Market Commentary video featuring the proprietary bull-bear point-and-figure market breadth summary chart compiled by Donald Pearl, www.s2pmarketsignal.com. Hoping that you are enjoying a peaceful and pleasant weekend, that you are looking forward to a prosperous and productive week coming up, and wishing you true success.